Hello and welcome to the podcast. My name is Byron.
My name is Henri.
Today we're going to be talking about our futures and where we're going to be in 10, 20 years. So Henri, why don't you start?
Well, I'll start by asking you. I'm not sure yet, so.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 10 to 20 years?
Let's see. 10 years. Let's see, I'll be 28, almost 29. My God, that's kind of old.
I was going to say.
I think, hopefully, I'll be in a nice and stable job. I don't know. Okay. Doing something I like, probably 3D design or game design, doing something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I will have my own place. No, I better have my own place. That's going to be bad if I don't. Yeah, so I'll be in my own place. No idea where I'll be. Probably somewhere in the States, but I could be, I don't know. I could be anywhere, honestly.
Probably Colorado?
I don't know. I'm thinking I probably won't be in Colorado, just because I think the bigger game design studios and stuff like that are in California. So I'll probably be in California, but maybe not because it's really expensive there.
Yeah. Does it matter to you the environment where you stay?
Yeah, I mean it does, but I think I'm pretty much good anywhere. I can adapt to any place. So I think I'll be okay wherever I go.
What about relationships?
I don't know. Don't know what I'll have in 10 years. Maybe I'll have a girlfriend, or I'm not sure if I'll want a girlfriend in 10 years though. I might be focusing more on getting work done in myself. I'm not sure.
And do you imagine having maybe a solid group of friends, or maybe one or two friends that you spend a lot of time with, or just spending time with yourself mostly?
I guess that, I don't know. It depends on where you guys end up as well. Because if you guys are nearby, then yeah, I'm sure we could hang out all the time. But if you guys are not, then maybe I don't know, just playing with friends online, I guess.
And what about at work? Do you imagine the work environment being your main environment where you spend the most time? Because you mentioned Riot, I don't know what company, Riot Games or something.
Yeah.
They had a gym, they had all the restaurants, all the food you could want. It seems like you could just live at the game studio.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big benefits of pursuing this job. I think recently game studios and stuff like that, they all have that stuff. So they all have gyms. They're just like Google has this stuff too, but it's it's better because it's Google. They have a cafeteria where you can eat for free, gyms, a counselor stuff, it's a full campus environment.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, that you get everything for free if you work there, which is crazy. And really cost effective, especially if you're living in a place that with a high cost of living like California.
So 10 years they'll be 28. How about 38? Do you imagine anything will change?
That's much older. Yes, I hope I will have kids by then.
Okay.
Yeah, I will definitely.
Yeah. I was going to say between 28 and 38, that's the time you imagine starting a family?
I think right around 20, my late 20s, I will be looking to settle down. Yeah. Because I'm perfectly fine with being a stay-at-home dad. That sounds like a sick job.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think so just to roadmap your plan here, or at least what you imagine will happen. From early 20s on towards late 20s, you'll be sort of working, doing your own thing, spending time with friends if they're nearby, but mostly just doing what you love, which is helping design video games. And then from late 20s to maybe 30s, you'll start settling down, you'll find a relationship and start having kids, and you can still work on video games maybe from home, because I'm sure that's possible. But you'll be a stay-at-home dad. Is that right?
That's probably the optimal situation.
Yeah.
I want to be able to be free in a sense, quotation marks, by
That's
35. Right. So I want to be able to wake up at 35 and be able to do anything I want in that day, without having a specific obligation that I have to go do, Unless it's like taking care of kids, then obviously that one is
of course
important. Yeah,
and that's a meaningful responsibility. Not something that you have to show up for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's a big question for everybody our age right now. Is we're entering this period where we feel like we're no longer free. In reality, we haven't been free for a long time, but within school, there's always been a certain freedom that comes from having a strong community. But when you don't have that kind of community, all of a sudden now you're vulnerable to, what money or the lack of money will do.
I think in a sense that makes you more free, but it also gives you more responsibilities, which makes you less free. Yeah.
I think really what it comes down to is that this period of like early 20s and eventually 30s, it's about I can now do things that are beyond what I could do alone with the help of money, So if I want to fly to a different country, I have the freedom to manifest that because I have the money to do so. But in order to be able to do those things, you need money in the first place, and then that just getting money eats up some of your time. So it's sort of a paradox. It's you work and you sort of sacrifice some of your freedom most of the time. If most of the time you don't get a job that you love, so you have to sacrifice some of your freedom in order to get other freedoms, which is sort of paradoxical to me. But but it sounds like, once you get a job that you love, it's no problem, right? Because not only do you do what you love, you get to work out whenever you want, you get to eat whatever
you get paid
whatever
for
you
doing
want.
what you like.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
And what about investing?
I was just about to talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, again, the plan by 35, essentially to be retired by 35. So either that be I'm able to provide through my investments, just like passive income, or I don't know, just the money I've saved up over the years for investments, or I don't know, doing something else, maybe a side hustle or something at 35, something that doesn't take up too much time. Yeah. But being able to have most of my time be free time that I can choose where it goes.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a common goal.
Yeah.
For everyone. 20 years in the future, I want more freedom. How do you imagine yourself physically?
Ooh. Well, I hope to be playing basketball a lot. But after you have kids, I don't know what happened, that's a lot of time right there. And if I'm going to be like the stay-at-home dad, which in this optimal situation I am, then I don't know, might get like a hoop or something in my backyard or something like that.
And do you imagine most of your exercise will be playing basketball and maybe like running a few times a week, like working out, stuff like that?
I think it mostly just be at home stuff, just because I think it's easier, it's quicker to do. Yeah,
exactly. How about access to family?
I don't know. My family's cool and all, but I don't need to see them that often.
Hey, I'm completely with you. But I think you need to have a contact point that can be accessed.
Yeah.
But of course, imagining yourself in the future, it's liberating to imagine yourself and just create all the people around you that you want to have around you, which may not necessarily be family. It doesn't mean that you don't love them, but it just means that's not what you imagine would allow you to expand to your fullest potential, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think of anything else that you haven't touched on.
I mean, I'm sure there's something. We'll probably figure
Well,
out.
yeah, I mean, we covered all of it, like,
How about you then?
Relationships. Yeah.
How about you? What do you think it'll be in 10 years?
28. My goodness. My God. Well, so I'll be out of college by then.
Yeah.
And everything past college is...
You have no idea.
No idea. It's just the fog of war.
Yeah.
The fog of war reaches that point, and beyond that, no idea.
What do you want? Or do you not know? We've never thought about it.
Well, yeah, see, I've definitely asked myself what I want a lot these days, because being alone will make you ask those questions.
I totally agree. Yeah, it will.
And I think what I want, I finally starting to understand. What I want is being able to walk around and just see everybody I know doing their own thing, and being able to go up to them and say, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" Being able to talk for a bit and then move on. Being able to just stop and participate with some people in something spontaneously. Like, I just walk up and, you know, there's somebody making music, or there's a group of people making music, and I'm just like, "Hey, what's up?" And they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And then we start jamming, and like and then we just do that for an hour, and then we're tired and like, yeah, that was cool. And then we go, and maybe we go separate ways, or maybe we have dinner together or something. To be able to have that environment again. And I say again because I remember that's what lower school was like.
Yeah.
On the playground, it's a true display of just like cells moving around and interacting with each other and discovering the world together. I mean, that's really the environment that was most engaging for me, was in lower school, and on the playground especially. And just to be able to have that with adults that are not kids anymore, but that know themselves and know their capabilities and are capable of creating beauty, I think that would just be so fantastic.
How do you plan to fund this? Like, what are you going to do for work?
Plan to fund this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, that's another blank spot. See, the problem is that for me, I'm still grappling with the issue of money, because everything that I enjoy doing has its purpose removed when I start doing it for money. Like, if I enjoy making music, which I do, I love singing. But to imagine singing for money, all of a sudden something is gone when I have to force myself to sing for money, or designing something, or creating art. All these creative activities, money just sort of sucks the life out of them. At least for me, it becomes an extrinsic motivation, which just kills the intrinsic motivation to do those things. So I imagine that I imagine that I would be making money in a way that I would not feel guilty about, and somehow I would be okay with I would maybe create something that millions of people would use.
A blueberry farm.
and I would just share it like a gift, using technology, to as many people as I possibly could. And I would remove corporate influence as much as possible from my work. And I would try and make money as guilt-free as possible, as humanly possible.
That seems like a good goal.
And ultimately, Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about in the past, like starting a blueberry farm, right? The idea is that it's impossible to make money guilt-free. And so being self-sufficient is the only way that you can live a life guilt-free. But I don't know, I don't see that as possible.
I mean, would you be guilty selling blueberries?
No, I would feel less guilty, but I would still, I don't know.
The fact that you're making a profit makes you seem guilty?
I think it's just because money is so arbitrary. Like the value of it can just be decided on a whim almost. Like paying millions of dollars for virtual artworks compared to a few cents for a blueberry that contains infinity inside of it. It's a live organism, you know? Like just the way money works, it seems so arbitrary that it's so hard to imagine that you're getting exactly what you deserve. Yeah.
I think most people don't get what they deserve. Whether that be they get too much or they get too little.
Right.
But yeah.
I think you're right, honestly. I think having to face that has been very difficult for me. And going forward, it's something I still have to think about as money plays an increasingly important role in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as for the work, I'm not sure, honestly.
Would you feel guilty doing like a... I don't know. I guess you would, just because of money, I guess. But like, I don't know, being like a bricklayer or something?
Yeah, I've been moving in that direction because using your body to create is the more honest way, a more transparent way of making money than, for example, using your intellect. Not to say that intellect is not as useful.
Wait, I'm not really getting what you mean here. What do you mean it's more transparent?
What I mean by that is when you use your body to create something physical, you can see the fruit of your labor. And it's there in front of you. It's there where you can see it and you can touch it. And you saw exactly how many hours it took to put that together because you know the process. And for something like, let's take art as an example. Creating an artwork can take anywhere from a day to months. Because maybe one day everything falls into place, you know exactly what to paint, and it just comes out perfect. And other times you have artist block, and you can't put the pieces together until finally, after months of hard intellectual reflection and work, you finally get the piece out, and now it's as good as you want it to be. How can you quantify those two things? How can you quantify everything falling into place versus months of hard work? It's all in the head. It's all based on a constantly changing environment of your mental state. To then make money off of that as an artist, it just feels like you can't put a number to that. But at least when you're doing something physically, you can, the numbers are in, it's more physical. You can,
it's easier to measure, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. And so I would still, I think I would feel better about doing something physical for money. But of course, that doesn't pay as well, does it?
Well, it depends on the job, but yeah. I mean, I guess the potential for creating art and that field, just in general, you can probably make more money than doing something physical. Oh, you most definitely can. Like if you have a big song that pops off, you know, you're making a lot of money. But if you...
That's right.
I mean, like a more physical job, if you build a house, you're going to get paid for building the house, you know? It's not going to be like a few $1 million and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, of course it depends on the job, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I would want a physical component
to your job
in my future. To my job. I think I want a lifestyle where I am being physical, but I'm not having to block off time just to exercise, if that makes sense. I don't want to say, okay, I have to do my hour workout, or I do my hour of cardio now, and for the rest of the day, now it's like a box that I check off. I want a life where I'm moving naturally in order to accomplish things.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a blueberry farmer sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, farming also has its own like problems.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of what my future is just speculation. Like I'm kind of just throwing things out there that I felt for a while, but I don't know what shape they would take.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the main difference between me and you is I think you see your future more clearly, whereas I'm feeling my future, but I don't know what it looks like yet.
I mean, I don't know. I think I would agree with you a little bit about feeling it out. There are few things in my future that I see very clearly that I definitely want, and I know I want that. Like having kids. Like I definitely want kids. And I definitely want to, have that freedom. I guess most people want that freedom of, just being able to do what you want. But I definitely, I know I want those things. Whereas other parts of my life, I have no idea what's going to happen. And I don't know what I want with them. And
that's where there's room for surprises.
Yep. And I think your 20s is a time of figuring that stuff out. Figuring, yourself out, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're thinking about this from a certain perspective, which is a very unique perspective, which is just out of high school. It sort of feels like the whole world is open to us in a way.
Yeah.
And yet we haven't experienced a lot of it.
Which is crazy, because 2 years ago, the biggest thing in our day or our week is we have an exam or we have a test at the end of the week. Now it's you can go anywhere, anytime you want. And the only thing that's stopping you is you. You can do anything that you want. Of course, there's consequences, but you have that option to now go and do things. And it's almost paralyzing, the amount of things that you can possibly do.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, just today I was imagining, I asked myself the question, if nobody, if I didn't know any of my friends, if the whole world didn't accept me anymore in terms of just people, what would I want to do? Or another way to put it is, if I were the only human being on this planet, what would I want to do? Which is, it's a bit of a strange question because so much of our lives is centered around other people. But at the same time, I think when you realize, when you see the world from a perspective of just yourself, that you can do anything. Yeah, like you said, it's paralyzing.
I think that... Yeah, sorry, continue.
No, I was going to say, now, like we said, you're forced to figure out what you really want. And you're forced to realize that nothing really matters. So what you really want is sort of completely up to you.
Yeah. I think when you start thinking about stuff as an individual, you take away other people's thoughts about it, what do I really want to do right now? I think that's when you figure out kind of who you are or who you want to be, because you stop thinking about, I need to go and work out tomorrow because I need to look good for other people, or no, let's just, for example, if you start thinking, if you think of the world as, not the best way to think about it, but if you think about it as you're the only person in the world, or you're the only one that matters to you, then that's a better way of asking. Yeah, maybe like that. Of course, family too. But yeah, if you think about it like that, then I think you start losing that need to please everyone or make everyone see you as something good. You don't have to, you would no longer be thinking, I need to look good for other people. You might start thinking, I want to look good for me. I want to work out and prove to myself that I can do this. I think that gives you a lot more, I don't know, mental power, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. To help you accomplish your goals.
That's exactly right. Because when you take other people out of the equation for why you make certain decisions, you realize how much of your life is based around fitting in.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
I think the coolest people don't
That's
fit
a human
in.
thing. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. The coolest people are the ones who refuse to let their decisions be based off fitting in.
Refuse to be peer pressured. My motto.
Yeah, because you know what you want. You can only
Trying to know what I want, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like you only have that space when you are alone. Because when you're not alone, your brain takes over and tells you that these other people matter.
You almost go into like an autopilot. Yeah. You don't really think as deeply most of the time when you're with other people.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What were you going to say?
No, it's okay. You keep going.
I was going to go in a different direction where I remember times in high school where I felt alone with other people.
Oh.
Yeah. And I like what you just said about how you go into autopilot. I felt like I was sort of resisting that autopilot. I was aware that I had been in autopilot for years. And now I was unable to socialize with people normally because
you knew it was there.
And I was tired of being on autopilot. Yeah. It was like my brain or my soul was telling me, no, I want to figure out who I really am. I don't want to keep playing a character anymore.
Yeah, see, that came a little later for me. Like, for me, autopilot was just, I don't know, it's just something that happened, you know. I didn't really bother me that much because I had everything else, like, you know, tucked away. So the only time I ever thought about stuff that actually mattered to me was, you know, 12 a.m. or like 12 p.m. I guess. I don't know, middle of the night. Middle of the night. Yeah, that's right. When no one else is around, and you know, I'm like in my bed by myself, just looking up at the ceiling, just thinking about life.
I feel like like everybody is going through that, you know?
Yeah.
Like based on what I see on the internet, but also when I talk to people in person, the kids our age, it's just you're on autopilot for the day and you get the night to care about what you actually want. You think about what you actually care about. And I was so tired of that. So I guess everybody is tired of it. It's just, when do you stop playing the game?
Yeah.
And for some people, it comes earlier than others.
Yeah, like for me sorry, yeah.
I was for me, I feel like I perhaps was one of the earliest, which is not. It's not a bragging. In fact, it's probably sucks that I was one of the earliest. You know, and a lot of times I feel like I wish I could have been more average to when I wanted to stop playing the game, so it felt more normal to do so. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, for me, like being out in public, and not necessarily public, just like at school too, there's this part of me that will never show itself, like no matter what. Like I will not let a certain part of me come out.
That's right.
Like most of the time it's, you know, negative, in quotation marks, negative emotions. So like being sad or being angry. Like I just won't let that out in public. Like, have you ever seen me actually angry?
No.
Because I don't think anyone has. I don't think anyone has. Dude, I'm a fucking monster when I'm angry, bro. I will kill somebody because I never let it out. And it becomes like a, you know, it builds up and then it's just a big gigantic release, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
How does it release for you?
Well, I haven't really felt angry in a while, but I mean, I still haven't released my anger in literally probably like 3 years. You know, I haven't been like properly angry in a long time. And I think sadness is the same way for me too, except you know, when I'm by myself I can just release my sadness, you know.
Yeah. During high school, were you this aware of it?
I knew it was there, but I didn't realize I was the one doing it. You know, like I knew that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I knew that it was happening, but I just thought, oh, that's just gonna happen. Like there's nothing I can do about it. When in reality, I was the one doing it.
And does it make you angry that you are holding back your anger?
Not as much. Maybe with like being sad and emotions like that. That is just so difficult for me to express to other people. Like being vulnerable about my sadness is so hard for me.
Yeah.
But like about like insecurities, that's almost like a piece of cake compared to being sad for me. I don't know. Something about being sad, I just can't, or it's really hard for me to show that to people.
Do you feel like if you show your sadness, you'll be a burden? Or you'll bring down the mood? Are you afraid of that?
Ooh. I think no, but it depends on the people I'm around, obviously. Like, okay. I think some people just don't want to hear it, you know? Like, they just rather would not, they don't want to hear my sadness. And okay. I mean, that's what I think. I think some people just don't want to hear it, so. But other people, like my closer friends, like you guys, I'm sure you would listen to me and you know, like give me guidance or counseling or whatever, you know?
And yet it's still hard for you to be vulnerable,
and
right?
yet I can't do it.
That's right.
I just can't do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're not alone, because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And in fact, so I asked you before, do you feel angry about holding back your anger? And this was something that I struggled with in high school, because I realized that people were suppressing their emotions around me, including me, because of some bullshit idea that it's not acceptable to have negative emotions socially. Why? Because if one person shows their negative emotions, it reveals to other people how their negative emotions have been bottled up. And it causes a domino effect where everybody finally releases their sadness. And that's too scary for people to imagine.
I
because
think
doing that would force them to feel the things that have caused them so much pain.
I think that, well, for anger specifically, I think like if you were to be angry, everyone, all of a sudden you draw a lot of attention to yourself, you know, and everyone looks over and like, whoa, what's wrong with that guy? You know, like being angry and mad is not something that's considered normal. It's considered, you know, very out of the blue and very wrong almost, you know?
Yes.
Like exactly what I just said. Like if someone's angry, you say, what's wrong with that guy? You know, like it's not a normal thing to be mad. And so I think that ends up getting like suppressed and not talked about because no one wants to think that there's something wrong with them, you know?
Mm-hmm. In a way, anger is not normal. It's not our default state.
Yeah.
But it's conflated. Anger is conflated with something is wrong with you versus you're experiencing something temporarily. That's the way it is with a lot of emotions. Yeah, so for me, I was so angry that I was holding back my anger because I saw how it was hurting us as kids. I saw how suppressing our emotions was hurting us and was making us calloused.
What does that mean?
Calloused means, you know how your skin gets hardened?
Oh, yeah, like
on the
calluses?
bottom of your feet? Yeah, like calluses.
Okay.
So when we're receptive to life, we're sensitive, we're like an open gate that allows things to flow in and out. When we suppress our emotions, we cut off parts of ourselves that we think are unacceptable.
Yeah.
And so we fragment ourselves. So there's only one part of you that's experiencing life at any given moment. And it's like the gates are sort of half closed, where things can't flow in and out as easily. And if something that you don't want to come out of the gate is about to come out, you shut the gates, right?
And then you go home and cry.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly right.
Like your gates,
Because
your gates are one way. You can let things in, you can't let them out.
yeah, exactly. And what's the problem with that is because we're always absorbing things, right? We have a relationship with life, and when you're always absorbing things, which you do as a kid, because that's you're naturally receptive, and you're absorbing all this negativity and toxicity, right? Now it's just inside of you, but it's not acceptable to let that out in the form of anger or sadness. So you're taking everything in, but now you can't let yourself express it. So you're just holding the gates behind this dam, behind this large pool of water that's just about to break the dam, right? And when it does break the dam, sometimes we call that mental illness. Sometimes we call that suicide. Sometimes we call that like freaking out or having a tantrum,
Or
right?
anxiety attack.
Or anxiety attack, exactly. or crying,
Or crying, yeah. Where do you think you're going to be in 20 years?
Well, we were gonna have to get back there at some point. 38 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I think we were just talking about this. Like, when we're being alone, we have this new awareness of all the things that we're going through, all the processes that our body and our minds are experiencing. By 38, I would like to think that I have a large wisdom, a large collection of wisdoms that I can give my children.
So
Because
you'll have kids then?
I do want kids
Okay.
at some point.
How many
And-
kids?
Oh, I don't know. 2, 3, perhaps. The number isn't as important to me,
16?
but yeah, it's just yeah, but I would like to think that I would be a wise dad.
Yeah.
I would be a father that would, like you, I would be spending time with my kids. I would just know exactly what to say at the right time,
Because you've been through all the same things.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, that's what I kind of want. Okay, well, that sounds kind of weird, but I kind of want kids for that. Like, I want a mini me that I can guide through the
Yeah.
same things that happened to me,
Yeah.
and almost make a better version of myself. Or not necessarily better, just, I don't know, a version where I could guide me,
Yeah. Well, I think we're describing what most parents want,
Yeah,
which is a
probably,
second
yeah.
chance.
I mean, I guess for
But,
me, it was
yeah.
like, during middle school and mostly middle school to maybe halfway through high school, or maybe 2/3 way through high school, I wanted a figure that was like me, that knew, like a wise older figure that was like me, that could figure
That's right.
my problems out for me, or
That's
give me
right.
guidance on my problems. And I feel like if I have a kid that's just like a mini me, I could be that person. Yeah.
Mhm. I had the same desire for a male role model that I could trust, and that was like me, because I have male role models like my dad, for example.
Yeah.
But he's very different from me.
Yeah, same.
in
I
many
agree.
ways.
Yeah, my dad is very different from me too.
Yeah, and so sometimes I wish that I had a male role model that had my personality, that knew what I needed for my personality, that other types of people were just simply, they had no knowledge of that because they experienced a different life, different kind of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if I were to be that quote unquote wise dad for my children, I think that would just be so gratifying, right? Just to know, like, if my kid is crying and I console him and I am patient with him, and then to watch him get better, like, wow, that would just be such a gift.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That's I feel like that's the main point, really, of our experiences and our hardships. Because if you can just summarize years of hardship in a few minutes of conversation and help somebody's life, that is an enormous gift.
Yeah. I think for you and the person.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a way of healing yourself too. And ultimately, I think most of us want to give our gifts to heal ourselves in the process of healing other people.
Yeah.
So maybe in 20 years, do you imagine that what do you imagine you versus your wife and your roles in raising the family?
Okay. Well, actually, wait. Before I talk about that, in 20 years, like you were just saying, I hope that I can be my full self. You know?
Yes.
Like how you were talking about the gates. Like I hope I can just be the person I am supposed to be or meant to be, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Like full me will be exposed to the world, you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, me versus my wife. I imagine myself as if I do become like a stay-at-home dad, I imagine I'll be taking care of the kids a lot. Not to say that my wife wouldn't be either, but I don't know if she wants to work or if she wants to pursue a career or something, then she can do that. Feel free to do that because, you know, I'm okay with not doing that.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, so then I assume I'll be around the kids more. But I assume we'll still have like the same, I don't know, balance of taking care of the kids, I guess. I'm not sure. So, yeah, what do you mean, I guess, by the like relationship between us two?
Yeah, so for me, I would imagine, I'm not even sure if I would have a wife. I might have a partner.
A husband?
Or no, I don't know about that. No, that's a little adventurous, but I know I would I imagine having sort of, let's say a wife, but also the community. You know, in hunter-gatherer tribes, the community raised children, not two people. And for two people, it's a lot of work. With a community, you have a whole network that is uplifting this child. And perhaps it's a bit idealistic, but I would like to imagine that me and my wife would bring this child into existence, and there would be a network of people waiting to uplift the child.
So by community, do you mean like friends and family?
I think so. But living nearby, at least. Or, yeah.
Because I think a lot of times that will happen anyways. Like if the parents get, you know, if they're just exhausted or burnt out from taking care of kids, which, I mean, definitely will happen because kids are a lot of work. Then, I don't know, you drop them off at your parents' house for the weekend or something, you know, and they take care of them for a bit or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
In many countries, they already do this.
Yeah. I mean, they get the experience of hanging out with their grandparents, I guess, and you get some free time, and then you come back and,
Exactly. But it's not even just like drop them off when we're exhausted so we can recharge. It's also let's spend time as an extended family together, and we're all doing things, and the child gets to meet so many different types of people, different ages, different backgrounds, and to do things together, not simply we'll take care of them as the parents until we get exhausted and then give them to some random friend or family member, you know?
Yeah, I think like going on like trips or something. Like, for example, if you were to go on let's say that we're both married and we have kids, and so does Aiden and Naman or something. We all go on like a big group trip, you know? We have the kids, like they're hanging out with each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because actually I got a lot of my, not parenting, but like lessons, I guess, or like I learned a lot of my values not through my parents, I guess. They definitely taught me a lot, but like I learned to like share and be kind, I guess, through my mom, of course, but also through my uncle. like my Uncle Kelly. I remember there's this one time when I was a kid and I was playing like Xbox at a hotel, which is crazy. I've never seen that before, by the way, where they had an Xbox at a hotel, like in the room. I was like, what the hell? Nice. So I was just playing it, right? And my uncle basically, I didn't want to get off it, and everyone else wanted to play it. And he basically just told me, like, yo, you got to share. Like, you got to be nice and be kind and let other people have a turn. I was like, oh, shit. Maybe I do have to do that.
Dang it. I was hoping I wouldn't have to until you said it.
Yeah. Like,
well, that's how every kid thinks.
He was one of my biggest role models, like, as a kid, with my Uncle Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that just goes to show you that this, what you're talking about, like having a community of either friends or family to help raise your kids, I guess. Yeah.
And also other kids too. Like, I learned a lot of valuable lessons just from interacting with other kids, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I think both of us want to create an environment that is not toxic, you know? That's healthy.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what we want to do. Do you have any creative aspirations? Like, do you want to make X games or make a certain type of game?
Ooh. Yes and no. I think for the no part, I think I'll enjoy creating any type of game just because I'm part of the process, and I just think it's a really cool process. But yes, in a sense that I would really like to make a very story-driven game that's very atmospheric, and it's just like it's an experience almost, you know? So a game like that, maybe. And I want to do it in like a, you know, not necessarily I want to do it in like a small group, not in a big studio, like a group that I can be very like intimate with. You know, I can have those deeper conversations, and we can actually make the game be very deep, I guess. Something like that. I think that would be really cool.
That would be awesome.
How about you? Do you want to do anything like that?
Well, not necessarily make a certain type of game or, you know, make X songs or something like that. But I really like the idea of being able to create beauty wherever I am effortlessly. So with my words, I can change people. And I'm simply speaking my mind. I'm just being authentic. And yet that has a profound effect on everybody that hears it. Or my voice when I sing or beatbox. I can just break out in song. That's just beautiful. I don't need any instrument. I do it wherever I am. And same thing with designing. Like, as you know, I'm interested in designing board games and also video games. And I'm fascinated by the idea of a beautiful game. Like, I'm sure you've played games where it's a very simple set of rules, and yet it can generate infinite possibilities that feel fresh every time. Maybe not so much a story game, but I'm thinking of like Rocket League or even like board games like chess.
Something with a lot of variations and the same type of gameplay, but can be very different, is what you mean.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something that anybody can play, but it feels like sort of like Minecraft, I suppose, but just even more simple than that. And something that I would play. And I would play it not to enjoy the gameplay, but just to marvel that I can create a living game. Like, I created that, and now I'm playing it, and I'm experiencing parts of this that I couldn't anticipate. I didn't design it specifically to do this, but now I'm interacting with it like I was interacting with a person. Something like that.
Like learning and learning from it and growing with it, I guess.
I suppose so, maybe. Yeah, so maybe that kind of game, if I could make something like that, that'd be very cool.
I think a good example for what I want to do is something like Firewatch. You know, it's like a game that looks really nice like that, has a very good story, and, you know, is an experience. It's basically an interactive movie, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Something like
and
that.
I'm also thinking about, maybe God of War. It's the same
Perfect
situation.
Perfect example. That is a perfect. That's actually a combination of both of ours, because fantastic story, looks absolutely fantastic as well, and the gameplay is great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like the combat, I mean, I haven't played it, but the combat is like, you can do so many things. It's kind of like you have the choice to play the game how you want to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't just feel like you're pressing buttons when you're told to.
It's very interactive too. You get very engaged in the game.
Yeah. And I think that's a whole nother topic we can discuss, which is, why do we enjoy games so much? Why do we want to make games, you know?
I don't know. I guess maybe it's just because I've been doing it all my life, gaming all my life.
Yeah, and me too, right?
Yeah.
Like I started with Flash games. And
Yeah. I guess, I mean, yeah, ever since we were kids, we've been gaming. And for me, it was almost an escape from reality and an escape from whatever I was going through at the time, which I think can be very healthy, but also can be unhealthy depending on how you use it.
Yes.
Like if it's everything in moderation, I guess. So if you use it, you know, like, I don't know, 2 hours tops a day. I don't know if that's the correct time or not, but you know,
it's like kind of an arbitrary.
Yeah, it's very arbitrary. Yeah. But if you use it in moderation, then I think it can be a very good thing to get your mind off of what you're going through and maybe help you recenter yourself. But if you use it too much, obviously, then it becomes an addiction, and then you further the hole, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. It's a similar situation with music too. Like, music was once enjoyed as an event. Like, you went to maybe a club or you went to an opera house and you listened to music simply just to experience it for maybe an hour or two, and then you would leave and return to your life. And now music, you can play it whenever. It's like a background soundtrack. It has certain purposes emotionally, right? People play music now just to feel sad things because they want an atmosphere for that. And games are the same way. Like, same with you. I would play games just when I wanted alone time, and I had an environment that was both safe, like there weren't any risks, but it also gave me something that school couldn't give me, which was an engaging challenge. So games were the perfect, they fit that purpose, that need of mine perfectly.
Yeah, I love games.
And yeah
games are awesome.
Games are awesome. Yeah. And how do you feel about your kids, like in the future, playing games or using electronics?
Okay.
Did you set limits?
No, I don't think I don't know, man. Because as a kid,
hard question, right?
When you had a limit, it was the worst. You know?
That's right.
It's like, this sucks. I gotta get off now. But also, right. I understand the limit. Right. I hope not to have to set limits, and instead to have other things that would make the kid want to get off the game and do other things like that.
Yes.
But maybe I do set like a really high limit or something, you know? Something like a hard limit, like, okay, you have to do this now. Like, this is a little ridiculous.
Yeah. That's right. I think for me, I mean, that it's a tough question, right? For me now, I would probably not expose my kids to electronics until a certain age, because I want them to build their foundation on real life. And only after they learn to enjoy life for what it really is, do I introduce a powerful tool like the computer or the phone. Because now they have a baseline from which they can go back to, as opposed to always having electronics in your life. And now it's just like, if you take that away, you're taking away a fundamental part of their life, you know?
Yeah, but I think the problem with that can be that if the kids see like other people having electronics and using electronics, they're gonna really want electronics, and then they'll end up resenting you if you don't give them, or if you don't give them access to electronics and gaming. So I think
that's a good point.
I don't know. I think I wouldn't let my kids game right from the get-go, I think. But that being said, I would also highly encourage them to play, you know, like basketball or something. Like I want to be able to play basketball with my kids. That would be dope.
Yeah,
That'd be so much fun.
And I think the best solution, and you raised a good point about like seeing other people use it. I think the best thing you can do is just model what you want.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. If you want your kids to do something, then you just have to do that thing, you know? Because I think when you're a kid, your biggest role model are your parents. I mean, you see them doing stuff every day. So yeah, if you every day go out and play basketball for an hour, your kid's probably going to want to go out and play basketball for an hour, you know?
I was just about to say that. I could totally imagine you just walk outside playing basketball. Your kids are like, what is dad doing over there?
Yeah, exactly.
He's putting a round thing into a circular thing. It's like, what? Yeah. So, and the same thing with computer usage. If you're gaming all day, your kids are going to notice that. If you game and you're playing a game to have fun for a little while, your kids will come around and enjoy it with you, and then you'll get off and then they'll follow you.
How did you get into games, and at what age?
So definitely Flash games. Probably when I first, maybe like 5, 6, 7.
Do you just find them on the internet or something?
Yeah, we had an old iMac, and probably at school, kids would talk about it and stuff like that. I don't remember how. I think my parents found some websites, like educational websites, and they showed those to me, and then they were fun. So I kept looking, and my parents found a really old website with Flash games. I don't remember the name of it, but I played those, and then I guess I found other websites along the way. Yeah,
because for me, it was waking up like every day or coming in the afternoon, coming from school, like when I was a kid, and seeing my dad on the computer, you know, because he's a gamer. He loves gaming. So I would just go over like, what are you doing? And I would sit on his lap sometimes. I remember I would be on his lap and he'd bounce me like with his knee or something while he played like World of Warcraft. And I just remember being like enthralled watching the game, you know?
That's right.
It's crazy. All this stuff is happening on the screen. Like, what the hell's going on? It's something to look at, I guess. And then as I got older, I realized, oh my gosh, I can do this too. So I started playing on this really shitty laptop.
Yeah, exactly. Now that you mention that, I remember my dad playing games on his laptop. Marble Blast Gold and Roller Coaster Tycoon. And I watched him play those. It was magical. It was magic, like you said.
Yeah. When you're a kid, it's definitely magic, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I saw Steam, which was, for some reason, it was on my dad's laptop at school. But he wasn't playing. And I say that, but he wasn't playing anything.
That you know.
I think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I know. But I saw Rust on the front page of Steam.
Rust, yeah.
For the first time. And I was like, what is that strange symbol? That was the Steam logo. And then, and I saw Rust with the little fire icon on the front page. And then after that, I found TF2, and the rest is history.
Yep. Well, I guess this is a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think so. We covered a lot of different subjects.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. We will see you next time on the next episode.
Bye-bye.